welcome to Trendz Travel, coming to you today from the place where the sun was born, Mpumalanga. I'm Louise Scoble, and boy do we have an exciting lineup for you today. The music-loving audience of Joburg were in for a real treat with the second iteration of the UJ Weekend of Jazz, hosted by the Faculty of Arts and Cultures.
Sundays are family fun days. August being Women's Month, we were treated to a picnic with jazz by the UJ Arts Center in collaboration with Spam Dlalose and Didi Luzibo. A beautiful day out in the sun for the whole family and listening to the soulful sounds. The students were the opening acts for the artists.
Today because as UJ Arts and Culture we decided that we were going to make jazz accessible to the Sophiatown Johannesburg audience. It's so easy to think about the other jazz festivals around the country that are not accessible. Let's face it. It is for an elitist crowd. It is for a more high LSM crowd. This is for the people. We created it in such a way that it breaks down the barriers that is the jazz scene in Johannesburg. It was very important for us to do that.
Young as she is, Spam Dlalose is a seasoned vocalist in the jazz scene.
It's very exciting, and I think also it changes the idea that jazz is for the older generation, because I think that is a misconception that needs to be proven wrong. I think that jazz is proving to be something that young people find expression in, and I think that this is the perfect home for an event like this. I hated jazz the first time I heard it because I think I didn't understand it, and it was something that my dad used to play around the house, and I just, I didn't really get it. And then I ended up studying jazz, which is like the biggest irony as well. And I guess I've grown more in love with the genre. Yeah.
I just felt that it was really great that they propagating women, and the power and strength of women, not even looking at it in age, just the power of women generally. And I'm so glad that we even got female instrumentalists, and I hate to call them female instrumentalists, but we got women in the band. We got Al Stebza, who's playing bass today. We got Lindy Gonello. So it's great. I think it's a nice banger to end off Women's Month.
The ladies gave us such a great performance. I even contemplated joining a band.
I absolutely loved it, and it's so much better than last year, and I'm so happy to see so many people actually supporting it this year too. It's fantastic.
The coastal town of St. Lucia in KwaZulu-Natal prides itself on its green spaces that allow wild animals, to roam freely, even in the towns. There are great mineral resources available here which will never be mined simply because they would destroy the very environment that so many tourists come to have a look at.
Monalisa Wetland Park is a World Heritage Site. Lots of animals roam around freely here. You see vegetation and the ocean.
We are in Monalisa, and where it starts is actually right behind me at a tune called Mapelane, and it carries on along the coast, covering areas like St. Lucia, Cape Vidal, Falls Bay, Umkhuze, which is a bit inland, is part of us, Sotwana Bay, all the way to the border of South Africa and Mozambique. You can stand in one spot and see at least 5 of the major ecosystems. And those are the grasslands, which are very crucial for your grazers like your buffalo, your rhino, and all other grazers. And you also have the wetlands. Ismangaliso is known as a wetland because we have at least 4 Ramsar sites. Ramsar sites are wetlands of global importance. And Lake St. Lucia, which is right behind me, is one of those wetlands as the largest estuarine system in the whole of Africa.
Because of the many ecosystems here, this is a protected area, but there are mineral resources too. When you walk on the sand here at Ismangaliso, you will realize that there are black patches on the sand. That's titanium. They say it can do very many things, but if extracted, it might destroy the environment. And it might create jobs too, but those jobs will run out. The environment will be destroyed, and ecotourism, which is also creating very many jobs here, would have disappeared. There's also a belief that there could be offshore oil and gas in these blue waters. If it was dug up, all of this nature and greenery would disappear.
The minerals that are found in Ismangaliso, they are on the sand dunes that we have here, which are amongst the highest in the world. They are actually the reason, part of the main reason why Ismangaliso became a World Heritage Site, because in the 1970s, the sand dunes here were discovered to contain a mineral called titanium. And the mining companies were interested in mining these sand dunes because this area had been a protected area for a number of years. In fact, some of the areas in Ismangaliso were proclaimed protected areas way back in 1895. So we are amongst the oldest in the world, the second oldest to be specific. So they wanted to mine these dunes for the titanium. But the people that live in the area, residents and people that care for nature, NGOs and the like, they opposed to the proposal to mine the sand dunes here because of the value that they believe this place has in terms of natural beauty.
Blocking the extraction of minerals means saving the environment and therefore saving ecotourism. According to the World Travel and Tourism Council, South Africa is the continent's most popular tourism destination. It brings in over 400 billion rand a year. Some of those tourists come to breathe in the fresh air of Ismangaliso, go on boat cruises, and see some of these animals.
It's amazing. As you can see, we're fully packed. I mean, we saw hippos, crocs, fish eagles, variety of birds, fish and so forth. So that's what sells St. Lucia in terms of boat cruise specifically here.
Mining as we know it, those minerals would at some point become exhausted. But this protection of the area means that there's ecotourism, which is much more sustainable. What that means is that the area will be kept as natural as it is, will take into account that the natural resources that are here are kept so that we bring in tourists that will come and actually experience and see the beauty that we see of this place.
So while it would seem like a waste not to extract resources to an untrained eye, in an environmentally rich area like this, doing so would be detrimental, and in the long run, all of this would disappear and no tourists would ever come here again.
National Tourism Month is coming up very soon, and we'd love to know the beautiful places in this country that you enjoyed visiting. Whether it was a beach holiday, an extended business trip, or even a weekend short left. Let us know on Trendz on SABC using the hashtag TrendzTravel.
Oh, hi. As you can see, I'm trying to get the most out of my day. Trying to get this workout in and film this infomercial. And I'm sure you're trying to get the most out of life too. So, what's stopping you? What? Money? Money shouldn't stop you from going on holiday, paying emergency car repairs, or buying that gym equipment that you've always wanted. Get it sorted with a Ubank personal loan of up to 100,000 Rand with flexible repayment terms of up to 60 months. So you can focus on dreaming big and reaching your goals, and Ubank can help you sort out your finances. Get it sorted with a Ubank loan. I've reached my calorie count and finished filming this infomercial. Hashtag get it sorted. Eubank, growing with you.
Drakensberg is one of the best all-year-round destinations in South Africa. It's home to several adventure sites, each with a variety of activities for young and old. So put your brave face, grab your courage, and find your activity. As a visitor here, you are definitely spoiled for choice. The King Swing, zip line, and paintballing are just some of the activities you can do. Being the adventure thinker that I am, I decided to pack my adrenaline by trying out activities I've never done before. The Monster Mountain scooter was accelerating downhill descent, crossing through steep terrain, grasslands, and the indigenous forest.
So these are actually scooters. So we take you up with the bakkie, and then we take you up on top of the hill, which is about 1.2 kilometers above sea level. And then from there, we come down. It's a downhill scooter. So we come down with them. And then we do a trail, which is about 5.4 kilometers. So that's about 1 hour and a half to 2 hours. So to be able to ride a scooter, you need to be able to ride a bicycle. We also do scooters with closed shoes. And then you must also wear comfortable clothing. So sometimes here the weather is very hot, so you need a short or just a normal t-shirt. Don't forget your sunscreen, because it's very downhill thing. So now if you use your left brake, you easily can fall. So we only use our back brake.
Maneuvering this monster scooter may look easy at first, but trust me, going downhill is a ballet act, and be prepared for a few wobbles along the way. Next stop was this all-adventure, which caters for the whole family, with a variety of activities like the obstacle course, paintballing, and quad biking. But the trapeze is what caught my eye. So I decided to tackle it, and trust me, this one needed courage and strength.
A flying trapeze, and where you do a knee hang, and it's very fun ride. It's a knee hang.
Okay.
You hook yourself on the very same bar, and you face upside down like kumkuba wekati, like we used to do in Makaya, and it's very funny ride. And you can also do a backflip dismount, and it's very fun ride. And you land on the net. It's like a bungee bounce, waga bounce, or good bungee bounce. Maybe it's a very fun ride, and it's also same thing. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
So if you're a lover of adventure, the Drakensberg could be just for you.
In the heart of South Africa, straddling the border between the Northwest and Free State provinces, and on the doorstep of populous Gauteng, lies a truly amazing and somewhat mind-boggling site, the Vredefort Dome. This high-impact meteorite site has gained World Heritage Site status, and pulling went to see what all the fuss is about.
Now, the Voli River has a very important part to play in the story of the Vredefort Dome. It has eroded a lot of the surface of the dome, and as a result we can see deep down into the structure of the Vredefort Dome. All of these rocks that you see around me here, these rocks are Vredefort Dome granite, and this is what the Vredefort Dome consists of. It consists of this pinkish looking, very, very hard rock. Now, this rock came up from deep down. It was essentially boiling as it came up to the surface, and it formed the dome, which then quickly collapsed. The whole episode is thought to have been over in about 4 minutes. Now that was a catastrophe of note, because if you can imagine an area perhaps 70 kilometers by 70 kilometers deep, erupting out of the earth and then solidifying in 4 minutes, you're looking at a gigantic catastrophe. The Voli River was born much, much later than the Vredefort Dome. This could be a small asteroid in space. Many asteroids are this size, and they're very loosely held together by gravity, so they break up very easily. Now you can imagine an asteroid like this coming into the Earth's atmosphere would make something like a shooting star. You see those at night, on a dark night. But the asteroid that hit here at the Vredefort Dome was not this size. It was between, we think, about 10 to 15 kilometers across. It was absolutely enormous. Now, when an asteroid like that comes into the Earth's atmosphere, because of the kinetic forces that it releases, that is the motion of the asteroid hitting the atmosphere, it'll burst into a ball of fire. And this one did, with the force of trillions of atomic bombs. And that ball of fire then streaked through the Earth's atmosphere and hit the Earth and made a big hole in the Earth. It's all been modeled on computers. We think that the asteroid was perhaps traveling at about 70,000 kilometers an hour. That's 20 kilometers a second. And that asteroid, as a ball of fire, then plunged into the Earth. And you can see now what happens when that goes. There you see the pile of bubbles in the middle and the ring. That ring is the first ring of the crater. And here it is known as the Dome Bergland. It's actually a ring of mountains, not quite a ring, it's more towards the northwest side, because we think that maybe the asteroid came in at an angle and pushed up the mountains on the one side.
We're mostly into adventure.
And this is dope!
Almost there.
Oh my gosh! Ah! I want to fall. Please.
Coming up after the break, Trendz Travel answers the big question of the origins of humankind, or at least we attempt to. Stay tuned.
This is a very, very special month on the calendar for the women of South Africa. We need to stop and listen and look around us and see the plight of the women standing next to us, the ones that surround us, the ones that support us every single day, and ask ourselves, are we doing enough to support them? I hope that this Women's Month we truly look to empower each other, because by just empowering yourself, that's not the way we change a nation. We need to work together to empower each other.
SABC News celebrates Women's Month.
While the world became obsessed with the ruins of Egypt, Mesopotamia, Machu Picchu and even Mexico to uncover the story of the origins of humanity, few paid attention to the real cradle of humankind found right here in Mpumalanga, South Africa. We met up with renowned scientist and author Michael Tellinger, who took us through his Stone Circle Museum as well as all the mind-blowing artifacts. Stone Circle Museum in the town of Watervalboven, now called Mgwenya, is the perfect stopover for free thinkers on the way to the Kruger. Author of such books as Adam's Calendar, Temples of the African Gods, Ubuntu Contributionism, and Slave Species of God, Renowned scientist and explorer Michael Tellinger takes us through his Stones Museum.
So welcome to the Stone Circle Museum. This is the original Stone Circle Museum that started in 2007, 2008, filled with hundreds, if not thousands actually, priceless tools and artifacts. The new museum is being built right outside here. That'll become a world-class museum to hold these unique tools and artifacts in the world.
So wow, where do we begin?
Well, let's start over here. We're not dealing with normal stones, we're dealing with very special stones that were obviously used for very special reasons, and I've been calling them stones that remark bells. Yeah. What we've got here is, it seems to me that just like in Egypt, in Egypt we have the kings and the pharaohs have their ankhs, right? Have the ankh, and the ankh was a tool. It was a tool that they used for energy, for generating energy. They could do all kinds of things with it. They could heal people with it, they could levitate things with it, and so forth. We have the same here. This is the equivalent of an ankh. These stones go back hundreds of thousands of years, not just thousands of years. These are possibly some of the oldest tools and artifacts that we have. And it's these stones that actually give us a very clear indication that the people that were here, whoever they were, hundreds of thousands of years ago, building all these structures, millions of structures, knew about sound, resonance and frequency. And they used sound, resonance and frequency as a tool to build all this stuff. And these donut-shaped stones are a typical example or representation of this technology. These are very powerful energy-generating devices. We don't just think it, we know it. In nature, everything manifests in toroidal fields, or these donut-shaped fields. Our galaxy is a giant torus, solar system is a torus, atoms are toruses, and so forth. And these donut-shaped stones are just really physical shapes and forms that then create energy because of the structure and the shape that they made out of. Yeah. So whoever built this had a very advanced knowledge of technology in ancient times. Scientifically, it's very easy to show how these stones generate energy because we've measured it with very sophisticated tools and so forth. And so no one can argue with the fact that these are energy generating devices. Not only do we have in South Africa the largest concentration of stone ruins found anywhere on Earth, we have at this stage the oldest civilization on Earth that's vanished. We know nothing about them, so we have the deepest mystery of ancient civilizations. We have the stone ruins all around us. We're now getting their tools and artifacts that they left behind that clearly point towards a very high knowledge of the laws of nature. And that makes it so exciting. Yeah. We literally are in the land of Indiana Jones right here.
So we don't have to go to Egypt to get out of this.
No. So, for South Africans watching this is the most important discovery in archaeology, possibly in the last 500 years. You can't find this anywhere else on Earth. You can't find this in Egypt, at Machu Picchu, at Stonehenge. All those places are boring compared to what we have here.
Not all stones found in Stone Circle Museum are stones. Some are fossils that date back to the biblical Great Flood. What's found within these four walls will amaze and astound you, especially this big little discovery.
Unquestionably, the most beautiful fossil that I have. This was just beautiful. This is about twice the size of a human heart. You can see the coronary artery going out there over the heart. There's the aorta, where the aorta went in, and all the stuff on the side is just the fat and the meat and the fat that was left over, and then it becomes stone, it petrifies, fossilizes and petrifies. So what these fossils are actually correctly called, they're called mud fossils. So it's organic matter that's trapped in mud. It undergoes a very different fossilization process from what one would normally think of as fossils. So these are mud fossils, and just spectacular example of how interesting and mysterious this history in South Africa is. So somebody cut this heart out of some creature. I don't know who this heart belonged to, whether it was humanoid, very large humans, or some animal. We know we've got reptilians, we've got very large reptilian scales in the corner there, huge reptiles. So the dinosaurs, and from these spikes, the dinosaurs could have been quite large here. But this heart is a mystery. We don't know whether it belonged to a humanoid or some other creature.
Stone Circle Museum is a definite must visit for anyone with an open mind and curious nature wanting to know more of the original origins of man. That's all we have here on Trendz Travel this week, but we look forward to seeing you again next week, same time, same place. But you can still get your fix of your favorite lifestyle and travel show on Instagram and on Twitter, so why not like us, post and tag us. This is Eloise signing out. Until next week.